have one for water, have one for sewer, and then have one for utilities.
Yeah.
We added
Like your tapping fees, your hookup out of state
Like
hookup
have
fee.
all that stuff under that we need for water, have everything that we need for sewer, and then have everything that we need for utilities, and then everything we need for electric, if there's a lot of difference, which there looks like there is. I mean, instead of having, I mean, I looked at that, I looked at water, had all those fees down, looked at sewer, and then all of a sudden we're showing water and sewer.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't quite, I mean, maybe it's just me, but I couldn't figure out why we had to have water and sewer when we already had water, that we could list everything underneath there. Or out of city hookup fee, underwater, have sewer,
Out of city.
and then out of city hookup fee.
For each, maybe for each one, like we did
Yes.
for electric, but inside and
Yeah.
outside.
Right, and all electric together, which means the connect fee at the front door of the
Yeah.
city office, the impact fee, whether they're in or out, like the temporary electric connect fee, for the meters inside and out, all of this other, the electric impact fees, transformer fees, everything that deals with electric plant and electric distribution all together. Same way with water, and same way with sewer. And I guess I would like to ask Amanda, how are the fees, say like for the electric, water, and sewer, billed to the contractor? Are they brought into you, and you bill it all, and they send it back directly to you? Do you write a receipt and put it in each person's department head's box to show that those have been paid? Or does the department head bring them in to you or one of the other girls? They bill it out? Or say, does Jim himself, does he bill out the fee, all the fees, and then it comes back into you and you write the receipts? I think this mumbo jumbo stuff here needs to be done by one person. The clerk needs to send out all of the impact fees, like, say, Jim, he's got there's a project that he's gonna have to put water and sewer to. So he knows what the impact fees are gonna be. So he brings in his bill, gives it to you, you mail it out, make a record of it that you've mailed it and when. And then when the payment comes back, make sure it gets in the right fund for those fees. Because I did that, took care of all the billing out and all the money coming back in. And you make sure you put it in the right fund, because I think if Jim sends a bill out himself and you don't know it, and then you got money coming in, and then you're wondering where it came from or who was.
Well, we've been trying over the last several years to, they make up their bill, and then we have in our software, we got a package of accounts receivable, and then Shelley will bill out what they have and keep record of it that way. And
'Cause I
so
think-
when they pay, and most of the time, I know for Lynn's stuff, they always attach a receipt and send
Yeah.
it on to her.
Because
I
I
don't
think,
know if they do that with the rest of them or not, but.
I think my habit was to, when we got the money in, and if the guy paid you at the counter, you give him the top receipt, you make a copy of the other receipt, and you put it in the department head's box, and they know that that's been paid. And because otherwise, they're not gonna know unless they get your bookkeeping.
Well, they get a receipt, like we'll print them off a receipt now.
But did the department heads get those?
They do, for the most part. I don't know if they give them all to everybody, especially the ones
They
that
should.
request them.
Yeah,
The ones that request them, they do.
they should.
We
They
do
should.
for Lynn all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
With your permission, Charlene, maybe to clarify this a little bit for you. What Chris has started here last year, as when a permit will come in, he'll bring it to, we'll submit it to each of us department heads, Ronnie, myself, and we figure out what the appropriate fee will be for that project building, and then we'll submit it into Amanda or Shelley. They'll actually make out the invoice for it. Then when it's paid by the owner or contractor, then it shows back on our budgets.
Mhm. But you still, what I'm trying to get to is you need a paper trail that you can keep to make sure that those things are being paid. Because I know in the past, things have not been paid on time and they just slip through the cracks. And you need to have a good paper trail to make sure we're getting our money for what we're doing out there, you know.
Shelley will
and-
send out statements every month on top of that.
Yeah,
They're
well,
paying.
Yeah, you and I
So-
talked, and I know
Yeah.
you send the statements out, but just like,
So if it's not paid, then the next month they get another statement with
Yeah.
interest, and it just keeps, okay,
Because
so
I-
Well,
that's the
actually, we
problem.
don't charge interest. That would be kind of, I would need your guys'
yeah.
Well,
I mean-
if bill's not paid,
Our ordinance doesn't say that.
if bill's not paid, and you have to send another statement, do you charge interest on that?
No, I would actually need council approval for that.
You can't do that?
Is that something we can get that put in there to charge them? I think they're, if it's a delayed bill, I'll be charging it.
You need to put it in your
Yeah.
ordinance. You need
Or
to
unless
change your
that creates
ordinance.
a nightmare.
No, it doesn't. It's real easy to, not on ours. We just need the permission to from you guys.
What happens if I don't pay my electrical bill or utility bill in 30 days?
That's in a totally different ordinance.
That's in our code.
That's,
That's in there.
Yeah,
well,
we'll hold it out of your council. Yeah, Bob.
Andy, do we know, going back, I don't know when the impact fee was implemented, I think we voted on it.
April 1st,
Couple years ago.
It's 2 years ago. Has everybody that's built something been billed and collected from that owes us money for an impact?
I can make sure and check on that. I know Shelley does, she does send out statements every month.
I don't know the answer to that question, but I can tell you Shelley is on top of billing.
Okay.
Yeah.
very good.
She tells me
I
when
know
we're behind and
she pays attention to that.
she's on top of it.
Yeah.
so then, Jim, when you said that you bring the bills to Amanda,
Yeah,
send out,
myself as a department head, I don't bill somebody straight from me to them. It
Yeah.
always comes through the office, so
Okay.
there is that
and
trail.
then Chris then will take the information you give him
Yes,
and get in contact with the contractor and say, okay, you owe these fees, which you will be billed for, whatever, and then Chris is supposed to collect the building permit fee, am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay,
That happened to me. I had a meter go out, electrical meter. The contractor billed me for my permit and all that stuff, cost $700.
I think we still have setting out there one contractor that has not paid, he paid his temporary fee for, the meter, but he has not paid his, billing permit fee and water and sewer fee. I do not believe, as of yet. And I thought when we give a building permit out, they have to have that building permit before they break ground, right?
That's usually the case, yes.
Okay.
What happened to this case?
there was a discussion on what he owed, where he owed it, when he owed it, how he owed it. So we put that building permit fee on hold until that was resolved.
Well, it's resolved. Can't we get it done?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I've got a question on that electric. On the last page, we've got out of city hookup fee, 1,400 per project, changed to 1,600 per project. And then going to the last page, I'm gonna get back to that water, sewer, and then right underneath there, we've got water and sewer out of city hookup fee, $800 per utility or $1,500 per project. Is that,
Project would include both the water and sewer out of city hookup fee.
Well, we passed an ordinance here, 2146, on April the 1st of this past year that talks about the utility services outside the city limits and what we will charge for. And my understanding was, when I attended that meeting, that each outside utility impact fee would be $1,400 per utility, not per, and I don't know whether we need to reword that, but say I have a project, I'm building a house or a building out there. You're gonna come out there and you're gonna charge me $1,400 or $1,600, $1,400 for electric. You're gonna charge me $1,400 for sewer, and you're gonna charge me $1,400 for water, if you bring those two services to me. Does anybody else remember that as $1,400 per each utility for impact fees? And
I have a question on that though.
Just a sec. Ronnie wanted to respond to that.
That's not really an out-of-city impact fee, it's just an out-of-city hookup fee,
no,
okay?
that's what I meant.
Okay?
That's what it says here.
Thank you, Ronnie. Lloyd, you have a
I
question?
was gonna bring up was there's a difference between an
Yeah,
impact fee and
yeah.
a
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
sorry, I said it
Well, I
wrong.
agree, Charlene, and I think we should change it to that. I really do. Separate them.
1,400 per
Per utility.
utility.
I'm okay.
And then, instead of, like here, where we have water and sewer out of city hookup fee, $800 per utility or $1,500 per project.
Just change that.
Just change that to straight $1,400
Yeah.
for
Per
each
you
one.
see, that's what I was getting at. Then we could have water at the amount, sewer for the amount, and utilities at the amount.
Lloyd, you have a question?
I'm getting back to the difference between a hookup and a
Impact.
fee. Those both get charged,
Mhm.
so it's not like that one has to be changed. It needs to be left like it is, but it just needs to add
The
the
impact
connect or
fee.
the impact fee. If we're gonna charge the impact fee, it needs to be added into here. Is that correct?
That's the way I always understood it, so.
But it should be added into here though, too.
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
it is, it's just in a different spot.
Yeah.
It is?
The impact fee, water, sewer, and
Right,
then
yeah.
the different electric fees there.
Yes, yeah, hookup and impact fees on there.
Okay, so you've got underneath the utilities down here, you've got your temporary electric connect fee, which I wish someone would put meters by that, temporary meters. And then the impact fee, in or out, for water and sewer, 400 and 450. And make that change to $1,400 each.
Okay, now I'm.
For outside only. Inside it'd be 400.
1,400 was a hookup.
Yes, are you talking about hookup or the impact fee at that point?
Well, that's what I'm wondering what this is. See, I'm trying to figure this out myself. There's an impact fee, there's a, for out of city and inside city, you have an impact fee for outside, inside, you have these temporary electric connect fees, you have the connect fees when you walk in the door, it's of $120 or $150. That's why I like to see all of the electric stuff and the water and the sewer all separated out and put in there. Out of city hookup fee, out of city tapping fee, or impact fee, inside fees for water. You know, and things like that, because to me, this can be very confusing.
Charlene, when you were talking about the difference, do you think we should charge $1,400 for the connect and $1,400 for the impact fee?
I think it's the same.
I guess
in and out, I
It
believe.
was $1,400 for the impact fee.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Or the hookup fee, hookup, excuse me, outside
And then
the
this-
city limits.
Oh, okay.
Ron, you got
$1,400 for the
some of
hookup.
that here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
The $1,400 is strictly for out of the city hookup fee. The impact fee, there's no difference between in and out, okay? The big difference on the impact fee for the electric is the size of service that the person is requesting. That's why we have it drawn out in a big way here, because if we kind of remember, when we talked about that, a house service with a 200 amp originally was being charged $400, and Sunflower was being charged $400. And there's a big difference in the impacts. And that's why we have such a big drawed out affair, at least on the electric part of that, on the impact. And there never was anything said about a different impact fee, whether it's in or out, because the impact is whatever it is. I mean, if someone wanted to impact different outside, I'm not sure our schedule here would be right.
So these impact fees would be added to the hookup fee?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, it's a separate charge.
yeah, gotcha. And that depends on
And
the
see, that's-
size of the.
Service. Right.
Yeah, and that's where I was confused, see, because I was looking up here on this out-of-city hookup fee for water and sewer. I was thinking that was an impact fee, but it's strictly a hookup fee. Make it $1,400 for sewer, $1,400 for water, and $1,600 for electric. And then you have your impact fee like for electric, which is, I see here now, because I missed it, see,
It's very.
all the way down, and it depends on, like he says, what amps
Yeah.
and all of that stuff is figured in.
So the only thing you're saying is we should change the
Hookup.
sewer fee, hookup fee to 14, the water hookup to 14. and the electric
Yeah, I think there
to
should be, yeah,
16. I would.
out of
Out of
city.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
Maybe that ought to pertain to water too, because like a cement plant,
Yeah, that's what she said.
That's what I said,
Yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah.
All utilities.
all utilities.
So
if they have
Some
requested.
water pipes are bigger than others.
Yeah,
this will
exactly.
come back to us next meeting?
Yeah.
And then when would they go into force?
On published, wouldn't it?
Yeah, usually after probably a couple of weeks, and then and that takes effect right after that, so you're probably looking at February if you release.
I'd like to hear, does anyone in the city have any problems with any of the changes we've been talking about up here?
Oh, we hear from some of the contractors once in a while that none of them really like the impact fees that we did a couple of years ago. They think those are added on to what we already do, so we hear that, but that's all I've heard so far.
Well, 9 times out of 10, the contractor charges the
Charges it to,
person anyway.
Right, yeah.
It's a fact.
Sometimes
I don't like it when the.
Well, yeah, usually 10 times. I don't know anybody who doesn't pass it through.
Hard doing business.
Well, nobody likes an increase, but we're here to make sure we got what we need to run this city. And if we can get this to save from raising the rates 4% instead of 3%, you know, then that's what we should need to do. And that's not gonna happen. Every bit helps.
Yeah, sure does.
Well, one thing about it, if we ever have a big breakdown or something, we need some money.
We'll go through it pretty quick.
And my wages here won't even cover it.
Well, we'll pull ours together.
Yeah.
One question on the grass cutting fees. Say, you send Marcotte out to my house to mow my yard because I let it get too tall. It's gonna, whatever it costs, plus $250 in administrative fee for the first occurrence.
Yes,
That's what you're gonna charge me.
yes,
Does he get paid
yes.
for mowing?
He turns in a receipt to us and we pay him.
Okay, so then if we keep letting this, if I don't pay that fee and then the second time he moves, I don't pay the $500 or $750 for the third and $1,000 for the fourth, do you put that on my taxes then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other thing on the fees? Okay. We'll move on to the, issue of the wage increase proposal for the electric department personnel.
I have one question.
Ronnie, you want to come up and do this about that? Excuse
He
me.
said
Yeah.
I'm scared of you, I don't know if I want to come up here. What we're trying to do here, the last time we hired a couple of power plant operators, we had a couple really good ones that applied, but we couldn't get them hired because of the starting wage. And in reality, with what we're raising here, we couldn't have got them anyway. But if we could raise that, what we're hoping to do is get some better people to apply. I'm not sure that this is the right way to go. I can't think of any other way to try to get people to apply that would probably stay. On the power plant side, we're starting off at $12.87, and what I'd like to do is move it up to $14.48, which is $1.61 more. And on the lineman side, we're starting off at $13.91, and I'd like to move to $15.05, which is $1.14 raise. If anybody has anything that they think we might be able to do to get better people to apply, come talk to me, because I'm interested. I know we need to do something.
If you do this, what kind of credentials are you gonna require? Can a guy just walk off the street?
That's about what we've been hiring, and
So can you up your maybe qualifications to get this job? Or?
well, if you did, you'd probably have to up the money some more. We're gonna be competing with Rolling Hills someday for linemen, and we're not gonna be able to touch our people. They're making way more than we are. And so what we gotta do, we gotta train them. And education on our part is probably where it's gonna have to go. We've got two programs that we're working off right now, and that's power plant certification and the lineman certification. So we're trying to train our own people, because we can't really afford to go out there and compete with some of these big companies.
Is that training program working?
On the lineman side it is, the power plant, there's bugs in there that we're trying to work through. I'm not gonna go on record saying the other way right now, in fact, okay? We're putting some money out trying to get them, and they're interested in it. I know anybody we hire now, it's gonna be mandatory that they take it.
Is there any way we can tie that training into a wage increase?
It is now. And that's what we set up. We wanted to reward them by passing it. There's two things that they gotta do on that power plant. They've gotta take this course, and then they've also gotta learn that plan. So there's two steps that they gotta do, but when they get through it, and once they're signed off that they are able to run this plant here, they're gonna move up pretty decent. But
How will that fairly decent compare to,
oh, it's gonna go above that by quite a ways. I didn't bring that scale with me, but, I'm gonna guess they're gonna go pretty close to 20, once they get trained.
One other question. Go ahead, you wanted one before I got it, before any of us started.
I was just wanting to know, the electric rate increase that we approved earlier this meeting, does that cover, can that be applied towards wages in the electric department? And
Maybe indirectly it will, but I hope it don't. I'm kinda hoping that,
that's just capital outlay?
yeah. What I'd like to see with what money we can scrounge up and put into some kind of a account to save for the future, because we know we've got a lot of projects that are gonna have to be done. And somehow we need to be working towards saving up for that. I don't like to borrow money myself. I'd like to pay it off, but I know we can't save that much money, so, but if we could save some and help pay it off or help ourselves out, I think we need to look at that.
You're talking about a reserve fund.
Some kind of a fund to put it in.
You should have, in my opinion, you should have $4 million sitting in that power plant reserve fund that can't be touched by anybody for anything else other than that power plant. And the same
And I
way
think-
for water and same way for sewer.
I think that money can only be spent by the council. They have to bring it to them to approve it. And
Yeah,
that way
but-
they're aware of where it's going. But
But they
there's
haven't in the
several
past.
$1 million worth of projects that you guys are gonna be looking at in 10 years.
I guess my
And it's
question
just a
is,
matter how we want to save and fund it.
do we have the money in the budget to approve an increase like this?
We put money in for an increase on our budget this year. And we've also put in to hire a couple more people. One this year for the power plant, one for the linemen, and the next year we're gonna do another one. Because we're wanting to get people in here, get them trained for the future. There's several people gonna be retiring within a few years here.
First question, are those two people a part of the 5 that you had in your planning going forward?
Yeah, that is. There was a mistake in there on one of them that,
Apparently there was a mistake on 2 of them if you're gonna hire them this year instead of in 2016 and 17.
well, it's gonna be one hired in 15, one 16. And we're gonna be hiring another one too this year because we let one go last year.
Okay,
Yeah.
hiring, starting salary for hiring. How's that set? I thought that we have already, as you guys, can decide what place in that pay range you wanna hire somebody at anyway. Why are we raising the bottom?
You mean as far as just doing that as far as,
When you,
Yeah.
when you advertise a job, you put a range in there, and
Right.
I'm guessing the bottom is this 1287, and it goes up to 3 steps or whatever.
Yeah.
And so you could hire them 3 steps higher anyway.
Depending
Well,
on
you
qualifications.
could. But we need to have
They
somebody.
hire them 3 steps higher
So
with
it-
no qualifications? That's what
Well,
I'm.
it's just like right now, you've got an employee that's working in one department, and they could be running that power plant. They have credentials. They have credentials to run the power plant. Now, I mean, certifications, college degree, and this kind of stuff, I mean, and to me, you need to pay a person
That's what I'm-
depending on their qualifications, if they come in and they,
If you're hiring somebody to run the power plant, you're not hiring them at 1287 an hour. though. That's-
no, you're not,
So
but
that's-
to get somebody to come in, I think, rather than $9 an hour, you need to pay them a little bit more than that.
But my question is why do we have to decide that the minimum that we will pay somebody is
Well-
3 steps higher? And
I think part of that is the reason we're bringing this way, so we can advertise it.
as that's the minimum
of that.
And then are you-
We'd like to do it from, like, say, 1287 to 1448, in that range, depending on their qualification.
That's not what this reads right here. This reads that
Well,
you want
but
to
that-
just move it up the bottom instead of.
Well, that, when me and Henry talked about it, that's what we was planning on doing, and it did get a little different there, but that's kind of what we're after.
The last,
Okay,
the
so
last
we-
time we did raises, we did a wage study across the board. And it came back with representation, everybody said that this was good. That was what, 2 years ago? Or-
No, actually, the last wage study we did would have been 6 years ago, the full one that Dick Blodgett did. So it was back 2008 or 9.